Okay, so it's 2:30. Well, it's a little after 2:30. It's almost 2:45. But I've been up since 11:30. And I keep doing this weird stuff. Like, so tonight, instead of redoing a whole room, I have been reorganizing all my jewelry. Yesterday, I was doing all my shoes. It's like, I don't know what I am doing, all of this organizing my stuff. Like, I'm hoping that my impulse to do that is also a sign that I'm not about to evacuate in, any day. These people are definitely, when you are on social media, it's like, the West Coast is about to go, West Coast is due. People doing all this stuff, like where all the volcanoes are. You got the people talking about the super volcano. Well, we're all done for. Oh, that was one thing that Gothic girl was saying too about the super volcano. I don't know. She follows totally different stuff. Like there's all these breakaway things. What I really come to realize, especially yesterday, because I was just like, yeah, I've already been really triggered, like I've been talking about. But I have been triggered the whole time with the this other spiritual group. And then the trigger though, how I kept, like if I go to my guidance or I'm bitching or whatever, then it I'm giving insights or whatever into my thoughts. But on the and I'm getting lost over what the fuck I'm talking about. Hold on. The fuck am I talking about? I swear to God, I'm just, this is what my night has been like. This is why I am up. It is so fucking loud. I don't know how anybody can sleep through this. It's so fucking loud. There's so much fucking noise. Even when I went to bed and it was just like fucking trying to sleep in a party. I was like, okay, I'm shutting everybody off. Everybody shut the fuck up. Everybody's out of my mind, close it in. And it just, no matter what, as soon as I started going into my own thing, I was just like, oh, right back at the party. It's just fucking noisy. So noisy. It's so intense. The energy is so fucking intense. And that is the thing too, is like, if I were telling my daughter, oh, I keep being up all night, rearranging things and stuff, it'd be like, oh my God, Mom, have you been checked for bipolar? But which, by the way, they had diagnosed me that for a long time. They'll throw any diagnosis at you, get you on medicine, even if, and so they'd be like, oh, because that's a part of it. If you can't sleep. Because that's even where you do that, because they do these little tests on you. And when you're like, oh yeah, I'm up sometimes, and I message people at weird times, or whatever, and I still do that stuff. And because I turn my phone off at night, I just assume other people do. And if I don't know somebody very well, I don't necessarily message them at 2:30 in the morning. But there's a lot of people who know me who, yeah, if I all of a sudden think of something, then, but, and then being up and having energy and stuff. But there's also a part of us that is tapped into the energy. And so you like feel, it's like being in the current. It's like being in the cycles. It's like how some people, when the full moon, that was a big, like it was like a punch right there. That is like being in like a circadian rhythm of life. That is what gets me, is this pace is so out of sync. Okay, now I remember. Okay, so I've been ranting about certain things lately, but I've kind of been ranting about them for a long time because they don't make any sense to me. And yesterday, it got me going again, was this video that I saw. And the person was so excited to let you all know, all of you, to know that you are on a new timeline now. So congratulations, you're all on a new timeline. This is so exciting. And I am just like, what in the absurd motherfucking shit where do these people come up with this shit? People are just going on new timelines and they just didn't even do it. It's just all of a sudden they're on a new timeline, and it's just like, and then the people who have no circumference of this concept, or people who are struggling in their spirituality, trying to discover themselves, and then they're being told this stuff, and it's like, some of them believe this stuff. Like, you got people out here, pushing it and teaching it and all of that. So yeah, the whole collective, just like, when his ear, got all bloody, then we were on a new timeline. We're just constantly jumping all over the place on these timelines. And so it doesn't matter if your life has changed or anything in your existence or your reality has changed. It's just like, well, we're just on a new timeline. Well, where do you come up with this stuff? It just is because you are convinced that this is going to happen and a different thing happens. So, well, we're on a new timeline. That's the reason we're just on a new timeline. It's like, well, maybe you just thought the wrong thing, maybe you just, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of people who are about to fucking fall off their timelines. I'll tell you that, because it's so fucking wacky out there. But so yesterday, as I'm just like, what in the hell with these people? Like, this is so weird. I did a couple of TikToks about it, and then you get people saying things to you and stuff, which only feeds your disruption. And so but I was thinking about it, or what motivated somebody says something, and then all of a sudden it's like you see something. I was like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. This is the East against the West. This is two opposing sides. This is artificial against creation. This is, it's the same thing. This, because my teachings, or my learnings, the teachings I followed through my spirituality, and it was a long time ago. Like I've said a zillion times, that I didn't just jump on board to this new spiritual thing. It has been my life's journey, and at times it's almost been as a burden, because it created you to be different than the other people. That's why you have this mass amount of people now who are just trying to figure out spirituality, because everybody was not on it. Everybody was against it. Everybody thought you were weird. But basically in America and Western civilization, it was the Christians, which if you weren't a Christian and claimed Jesus, then you weren't worshiping the proper God. You were worshiping the devil, but you just didn't know it. So we had that conversation all the motherfucking time. And people are having that still. So I don't know if that might have made up. I went through that a zillion fucking times. Then see the Christians, and so spiritual people, you weren't Christian, you don't even know what God is, so shut the fuck up. And then the other people are science. They believe in science. And then when you have the science, because I was looking at all this yesterday, I was seeing a lot of stuff to the point where I was like, fuck, I should go talk about this. So I'll see how much of it I can put together, because I was really getting flooded yesterday with all of this information, looking at this this concept of this thing. And so I gotta shift around. God, I'm uncomfortable. And I've got all these pillows propped up to try and get comfortable. Sitting on the couch isn't comfortable, but he's still sleeping in the chair. But it's not like the chair is super comfortable. I just need I don't know. I'm not even say about it. Because then you get focused on, well, I need this or I need that. And I can do this just fine, and I can just be uncomfortable for a little while. But, so, okay, back on that spirituality thing. Because, okay, that'll probably be kind of bouncing around, because it's like, everything is this micro, macro. Like I said, everything is levels, and it all depends on what your level is and what you pay attention to and what you look at. And so the spirituality, so the East versus the West. in the spirituality, so back in the day when the teachings that I followed would have been Eastern philosophy. That's why I talk so much about like monks and gurus and stuff like that, was because that's the kind of teachings. And that is Eastern, what I would consider Eastern philosophy. Like if you were to, that is what I found when I was reading the Buddha Bible. I was like, this is like a philosophy towards life. It's teaching a philosophy. It's getting your mind to expand. And the Bible and Christianity is very, very direct your thinking, tell you how to think. And if you try and go outside of that thinking, you're going to hell. And so it's very controlled and contained thinking. Okay, so these are two different existences. And so the Christianity, the American religion thing didn't align with me. And so then when I started looking into spirituality, it's very driven by Eastern philosophy. And so it is, which are the things that I talk about? Like, what goes around comes around. It's not like you have to do it. It's almost like when you are jumping in trying to control things. And this is, with this whole thing with the storms, these are these people with their, that they are moving the storm and all that. It's like, well, you guys hurry and get on top of the fire. Well, what about that one over there? Well, we've got dynamite over there in that place. That make sure and get that handled. Like, like that's not what we're here to do. And so it is, but then we are here with all these different souls learning different things. So that is part of what we are apparently also having to go through. And then, so whatever, how this process proceeds. But so in the Eastern philosophies, it would be, like I said, where it is more about like you don't, it was like a taking away. It was like stripping away. What do you need to make you happy? How do you find happiness? How do you find peace and peace of mind? And it has to do also with getting into the pace of life, going with the flow, not trying to fight it and push it and control it and stuff. And so, it becomes deeper and deeper. But anyways, that is more of, the teachings that I learned from, that I went and looked into and stuff. And so that is where I would say East. So the Eastern spiritual philosophy is this one direction where is, to me, where it's nature, because nature has its own pattern, it has its own rhythm. And it's kind of like man constantly trying to disrupt this rhythm or control it or all these different things. And it's on all different levels, because even if you go back, well, it's the Kabbalists, all that, there still is people who do this stuff. It's a part of what people are here learning and stuff, which I just got to throw this out there about this Dan character. That has been such a motherfucking shit show. I can't even believe it, but it is. And it was like kind of, it was like last night when I went to bed, and it was being left off with his daughter, kind of shaming the general public as to giving this person who you don't even know, is you're jumping on board for some unknown reason. If it's about cloud or being just, a lot of stuff is like a deflection from paying attention to your own life and a way to pat yourself on the back and be involved in something that you see as a movement or something. But they're very toxic. And then a lot of this stuff is going to be, blowing up, fizzling out or whatever. And you just, like I said, like this desperation, like this weird stuff you see in people. So anyways, that whole thing with Dan and I'm going to stay on the boat, and then these other people getting involved. And then this bigger, I don't know, podcasters, TikTokers, whatever these people are, that bigger accounts that have big followings, so then they get it all involved, and then they make it into this like fun character and stuff. It's like, okay, so we have a category 5 hurricane headed in, and you guys are all just out there clapping. Like, there was so much weirdness to this whole thing. And um so then they start building up. Well, he gets all jacked up on all this attention, and uh so his then you had the people who start coming out and talking about his criminal record, which the woman he was going to start on fire was just last year, and that was pretty violent. And so, I mean, he has a violent streak in his criminal record, and then and he has a pretty heavy criminal record. And in the people who are speaking out now is because these people were getting so much attention on him. And then this one guy was saying he was going to buy him a boat. He was going to pay him to be on his podcast with him now. This whole deal. He's trying to give him this whole deal, this one night. And then people are even saying like, well, maybe he gave him that deal because he thought he was going to die. So he just wanted to look cool. But now the guy lived. But then the guy who was given the deal and took it back was saying, oh, no, it has to do with his record and stuff like that. But the guy with the record is saying, well, you should have looked into it a little more before you offer me a job. And so then I don't know, like I said, it's turned into this most hugest TikTok drama situation. It was so flooded last night. I couldn't even stand it. I couldn't even stand to be on there. It was just nonstop, everybody talking about this thing. But in those videos, I saw his daughter has now come out, and she's the one who's really mad at everybody. Like, how dare you guys? Like, you think like this is fun and games? You think this is a joke? My dad's a homeless drug addict. I have to keep my eyes on him, and the reason he stays off drugs is because he has no money. Now you guys just loaded him down with a bunch of money, and every podcast that she says, she says he's high as shit. And then of course drama is created, and because that's what happens with addicts. So there's all this drama going. Now everybody on TikTok is turned on him apparently, and see, that is more in alignment. What I was seeing was going to happen was this public thing, and so he's got a lot of this stuff being publicly put out there, and then the people turning on him. So that's what I'm saying, these soul things, the way the energy is moving. And they had another family member that came out, his nephew, and he was talking about how he's trying to talk to him and saying, why can't I get through to you and stuff. And he said, how he had fucked over the whole family, how he got the parents to get rid of their retirement and give it invested into his pyramid scheme, and took all of his whole family's money, and then he took off and went to Florida and left them all high and dry, and they've all been trying to pick up the pieces, and now people are just handing him money. He's like, so you can come up here and pay some of us back, because that's only a little bit of money compared to what you've robbed from all of us. So that whole fucking drama. So that's what I'm saying. His life is really blowing up when it seemed like, and you had all these people jumping on board too, like money was the most important thing, like he's getting this and he's getting that, and all the attention was going to go in one direction. And I knew that the universe is not taking us in that direction anymore, where criminals are going to be getting big payoffs. It's going to be different than that. It's going to be things all of a sudden taking a big shift. And so his is taking a big shift. Oh, and the Mama Tot thing too. She just totally placated to one group. And I don't know how many people she has following her. I heard somebody say out of the 7 million followers you have, half of those people are MAGA. And now you come out and said that you are not you're not scum like MAGA people. And it's like, because she's trying to, because the people who are so mean to her about this whole situation, bullying her, are the blue people, and they're attacking her. So she's throwing the people who are being nice to her under the bus, and like, it's so absurd. And then look what people do though, because they're so scared of being bullied or whatever. So all these things are just playing out, and they're playing out in these big public forums. Now, I don't know what, I mean, Dan has a history, I guess, of just disappearing. His daughter is really upset. She's like, he's gonna be dead. He's a total drug addict, and now he's high all the time, and he's getting all this attention, and so anyways, you got all of those things playing out, and all these dramas. There's all sorts of stuff. I don't know, there's all sorts of stuff. This guy, Tampa Dan, or no, Lieutenant Dan, Tampa 10, I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know all these people's names, who they're all always talking about. Even when there would be all these dramas of these guys, because there's been some of these dramas of these TikTok or Instagram or influencers on food, and they go to these restaurants, and then all these people go, and I don't even understand all of this stuff because I'm not into that, but there's been lots of drama about those kinds of things, and people talking, and I was like, I have no idea who these people are. And that's just always what's so trippy, is like, people think that certain people are so famous or something. It's like, you're famous to the people who pay attention to them. Yeah, the people who pay attention to them, then yeah, they're famous to them. But if you're not paying attention to somebody, it's just like, I don't know who the hell that is. And I don't think that that's like, oh, well, you're not with it, man. You don't know who's going on, And I was just like, no, it's where you focus your energy. And people have this dead ass focus of just artificial, superficial shit. And that is like of no surprise to me that, of course, Western spirituality that would occur once people started to become spiritual would be this artificial control the universe, push it in the direction you want, have still fight back with each other, just cut people out of your lives, and don't ever think about anything that gives you feelings or makes you feel bad. Oh, keep away from that stuff. Let's see. It's an endless thing. Like, people, like, you've jumped timelines, you just don't know it yet. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, how do you know anybody else's life? Like, what in the world? Like, some of this stuff is so strange, man. I don't even think that it should stick with Western spirituality. That's for sure. Because a Western influence is about this, manifest $1 million and buy yourself a mansion. And it's funny, what's funny about it, because it's right there in your face. But one of the people who is a really good manifester, has been doing it his whole life, who talked about his career and the money, and him writing himself the check, and then that exact amount of money being the offer, and all of that stuff, which to me, that is more psychic than him just, oh, he's going to make it happen. No, it's more he could see what was coming, and he had to keep going towards it. But but him being like, because a lot of people use his stuff to follow for manifestation. Also Abraham Hicks, which I don't know all our teachings, but he's even come out and said that, he wishes everybody could get themselves millions of dollars and all of that stuff, so that they could see that that's not what's going to make them happy. So, it was like, even if you go and you manifest yourself a mansion and millions of dollars, it's not going to make you happy. You're still going to be just a sad person in a bigger house. So it's not about that stuff. So anyways, somebody who even did it publicly then turns around and says, but it's not all what it's cracked up to be. But to me, I also, though, look at it from a different perspective. I look at it that I think he has a super spiritual connection, and that he knew where he was headed, and he had to trust that insight and go forward, even when everything was kicking him back, or any obstacle that he had to face to get to the place. That's when you're taking action in your manifestation. That is when you know something is yours, but you have to take action to go towards it. And that's where you get yourself on your better timeline, because so many people are on their negative timeline, which is, feeling like a victim and life's out to get you. And that is where, you're just telling people they just jump timelines. And, oh, now they're on their good one. Now they're on their best one. Yeah, what if they're super depressed and suicidal? So are they still on their best one? Could you please explain that to them and all of us? So it's like, so but once you bring yourself onto your positive timeline and you are going towards your dreams and your manifestations, there's challenges, because it is like you will hit into boulders of, do I deserve this? What am I doing this for? Why do I want this? Is this what I want? Like, there will be things that you have to overcome on the journey. And that is the journey to your best version of your best self. So that is the one timeline that you can enter, but you have to enter it at a pace of liking yourself, because even as you go through it, you're going to hit into obstacles where you're going to need that. You're going to need that stability of liking yourself and to be able to fall back on that. And when you fall back into self-loathing and you don't deserve it and you're not worth it and all that stuff, that's why you can bounce back and forth in there, in those timelines. So don't just feel like, don't be like, well, I'm on my worst one, everything's falling apart, everything's horrible. But I would say just having that awareness gives you an open thing to go towards your best timeline. So don't feel like, oh, I'm just, I'm suffering low vibration, I'm not going to ascend, the world's going to go on and I'm going to just sit here and rot. And, because I feel like so many people are just down on themselves because this fake ass spirituality has got them not understanding the truth about some stuff. And it's so based on this like Western culture, self-gratification. It's still about this, be better than other people, success is monetary. Hold on, I gotta just hurt my throat. I still been using this cup. And for one thing, the magnesium spray, I'm going through a lot of that magnesium spray, but I can really tell a difference on my hair with that stuff. And the fish thing, it definitely gets rusty. And so I don't know, I'm taking the thing and drinking it with the, because I keep thinking, fuck, man, the cast iron pans and stuff, they also get rusty. Maybe it's the rust that gives you the thing. But then I don't know, you get rust in your blood, it can kill you. So I don't know, right now I'm feeling like, I'm feeling like parts of me feel really good. Like when I look at my hair and stuff, like especially when I go in the bathroom, the lighting isn't like this. This is, oh my gosh, is so barely shows in a normal mirror without this light. I swear to God, it's just this light reflecting back off of the lighter hair or something. Because it's so much different. But the other thing I've noticed is just the color of my hair. It just gets more and more rich and more dense with color as this hair gets more and more rich and dense with color. And so let's see, like if it was more spread in there, if you could see more of how it's like the color of your hair only is just kind of lifted. But with this light reflecting back, it makes it look like it's just really white, and it's not. Especially like people who have yellow gray hair, I would say really start hitting it with the copper and the magnesium and stuff, and I bet your hair just goes zip back. Yesterday my mom messaged me and asked me about Barbara O'Neill for that information, because she said she wants to start telling people because of her hair. So I'm assuming now people are asking her, because she said that she was going to wait until people started noticing that her hair had changed colors, and then she was going to start telling them. And so, because then when people ask, they can be like, yeah, I've been doing this and here's some information. So anyways, people must be asking her, about hers. So I'm sure that hers is changing. And she's in her, she was born in 1944. And so her hair goes back to brown. I'm telling you, this aging thing is bullshit. It is completely just mineral deficiency. And you just got to keep putting them back in, and then taking care of yourself. What was that? It was video. It was just like a confirmation thing, because I already knew this. Somebody saying, like a 35 coming home and just too tired, don't want to do anything, getting old, just give up on myself. And see, that's what happens. And then people just think, well, I'm getting old and I'm tired and stuff, but people are becoming deficient, mineral deficient, and they don't have the energy and stuff. So, and then their lifestyle becomes more docile, more sedentary, and then they start putting on weight and start becoming more uncomfortable with themselves. And the more they become deficient in the minerals, the more their hair starts losing color, which is a sign of aging. Their skin starts, the collagen and stuff starts decreasing and stuff in their skin, and their skin starts getting saggy and creased and stuff like that, because of the mineral shortage. All the different things, like their libido, and then they will start getting really stinky, because then they've got a lot of toxins in them. Their liver, kidneys start getting clogged up with all of the different toxins. And so they just start feeling like really all the time. And so see how people age like that. And then instead of, one thing I've noticed is that you've got to do the movement every day. There's not a day that you can just take off. You will be able to tell. And that maybe just, at the place I am. But, like if somebody's 20 years old, they may be able to be like, well, I'm going to go exercise today, take off a day, and then go back and not be able to tell a difference. I can tell a difference. If I skip a day, I can tell a difference. It feels a lot harder if I skip. So it's easier to me every single day to just do this little, like, couple minutes throughout the day. Is literally like 3 or 4 minutes, like 4 times a day, getting out my little weights and just and then when you're doing them too, there's a thing, and this is coming out with the quantum information. I can't remember what this is coming out on, but it is something about our minds being able to heal us and stuff. But I've been doing that, so I've been trying to explain about using your mind and all of these stuff. So the what was I about to say? A guy coming out with healing yourself. Something I was about to say about it. I don't know. Come back to me, I guess. But anyways, I was gonna go back onto the back onto the back onto the different, so the different forces. So Eastern philosophy. So like the yin and the yang. And so like in the Eastern philosophy, it would be more to me in the light, because it is more in sync. Its goal is to get into sync with the universe, to not feel like you're trying to pull and stuff. It's very more about finding peace and being energetically intact or balanced. And the Western one is very much So this Western philosophy and spirituality is very much about, manifesting, get a bunch of money, is that's when you're really at the top of your game as a spiritual person, is when you're able to manifest a bunch of money and big houses, and you need to be able to move storms and stuff around. You need to have a lot of crystals, know what they're called and how to use them. You need to, for sure, not eat meat, because then you're a burden to society or the animal, because you're not on your own personal journey. You owe the, I don't know, you owe the rest of the world. You have to be a certain way. You have to conform and fit in to said diagram if you want to be labeled a spiritual person or something. And then, which is so strange to me, with the makeup and all the fake hair and all that stuff, with all of the stuff that's in those products and how toxic those are for you. But then they're going to be like, well, don't eat meat, but use all this other bullshit. And then a lot of stuff that's in like makeup and creams and stuff like that, it is even has that pink gel or whatever. That pink gel is made from that's the grossest part of leftover stuff. That is like, there's a lot of dead stuff in that. It is like, where could we mush up the most and it not even be noticed? Like if we went and took that stuff, I bet you there's so much DNA in that. Like I don't even know that they would be able to even separate how much there is. It would have to just create a whole new one from just all of these in there, incorporated. I don't think that you could define them all. And and the storm. Oh, and also they are blocking roads. I've seen a lot of videos. So over there, just same thing they did in Lahaina and stuff. They're blocking roads, like government officials. There's so much about controlling our movement. So they're blocking off roads, not letting truckers and stuff in and bring in supplies. It's very controlled and contained. And you have to show IDs and all this stuff to get through. And which is such bullshit, man. They're gonna create some kind of civil war. Like, it's gonna get worse and worse if they don't stop. I mean, it's one thing in Hawaii where I would say those people are more Eastern philosophy, more passive, more come together as a group. In the Appalachian people, like I've said, they have been running from these people for a long time, just like generational. Their ancestors, how they even got there, has been trying to escape these people, and these people just don't stop. And it's very much more of the energy's gonna, it's like a fight back kind of thing or something. And so it's pushing and pushing. And yeah, kind of, because then it gives me these flashes of those movies, Wrong Turn and stuff. Like, these guys need to fucking know. Like, you better stop messing with these people. And these people are not happy. Like, some are really crushed and sad. Crushed, like, that's horrible. Some are really sad and, yeah, it is, like, that's horrible. But there is, there's also a huge amount of them that are coming together. And coming together as neighbors and there for each other and trying to help each other and all of that stuff. And some are, I don't know, planning on trying to rebuild and stuff. But I think, I think it's going to be, everybody's going to have to leave that area. Or probably be another storm, just like there's going to be another storm in Florida. Just because if they moved that other one, there's just going to be another one that's going to come. Everything's going to keep going until we are where we're supposed to be. The landscape is going to change. We're not going to have a reset. And then we're going to still have the same stuff. Like, that's just not even logical. Every reset, this is what the earth does. It goes through cycles. It moves. And it changes. Like, it rolls over. So it's going to do that. And, I mean, It's like the people be like, well, she can't because it's going to ruin my house. It's like, okay, well, that's what we're going again. Like, this is the two different philosophies. It's like you got to go with the flow and know that she will give back. But you want to fight it and sit and whine and cry about it. See, that's the lower timeline to me. The higher timeline is, I don't know, because it's very, they're so gray, because it's a big concept to battle, you know, is that what you lose comes back to you. It will come back. What is yours comes to you. And just because you lose something, so many people are going through this huge thing of loss. Oh, which in Florida, if you go look up all the houses for sale, it's crazy. The whole thing is lit up now. Everybody, all the houses that are left are for sale. They're either crushed or they're for sale. Like, I'm sure there's some people who aren't selling their house, but it's extreme. And there's not going to be anybody who's going to be buying these houses. It's just, you know, this is going to be the same in California. All the coastline houses, it's going to keep being disasters, keep being problems. People are going to keep moving away from the things. They're going to be forced to have to move away because they won't have anything left. In North Carolina and Tennessee and stuff, like, whole towns were washed away. Like people are coming out and saying, and we're not talking about just a couple stores. We're talking about there was a town with houses and people and buildings and stuff, and it's completely gone, all completely gone. And it's very hard for all these different people because, and I can get it, like, you know, driving through all these little towns. When you drive through the state highways, you go through tons of little towns. And oh my gosh, so many cute little towns where they still have the old buildings. It's really cute, but really low population numbers. You know, just small little quaint towns are really cute, where it's just like, you know, simple life where people is in those places are just gone. And it's, and people are all just, it just went, they're in the debris. It's super sad. But it's, you know, it's part of what's going to happen. And we just got to keep remembering that's not really where they are. It's just the ending of this reality is how it's going out. Is very violent and brutal, very sad. And, but that's the way it's going to go. And, so on this, because there's more to the thing about the Western civilization, because even as I was thinking something about this, I don't remember what motivated this thought, but it was something about food. What was it that I saw somebody talking about, or food or weight? There's a lot of people talking about weight and stuff now. A lot of people talking about their own weight loss, but a lot of people, you know, trying to tell people like what your weight has to do with, and you need to love yourself, and you know, those things will change. It's like the reason why most of the people are overweight is because they hate themselves, and so that just feeds itself. So that is just two snores. These two are so damn cute. They look like mini-me. He's so cute, and Stella is so jealous of him. And they're all so jealous of each other. But oh my gosh, Archie and Max together, oh my god, they are so cute. They are so much like these little these little boys. Yeah, and they seem like, you know, I don't know, like these little orphan kids that I've picked up, and they act like little, they're so cute. He acts like he's been in a home before, and he has certain behaviors. This one over here, he acts like, you know, he's a street thug. So, but he's trying to mellow out, and he's just the sweetest guy. He's just such a sweetheart, except for when he gets triggered. Certain things trigger him. Crumbs trigger him. He'll take you out for a fucking crumb. It's like he remembers the days when a crumb was all you got for weeks. Anyways, And I feel for sure that he's had to fight for some food. So funny when you talk about them and they'll just look over at you and be watching you because they know, like they know when you're talking about them and stuff, and they know what we're saying. We live in the illusion that they don't. Like all these people doing these cruel stuff to their dogs and stuff, like that the dogs are too stupid, don't know. Oh, they know. Yeah, you just get over there, get over there to your life review, and see how you feel about it. And you get to face that soul, and how that soul was looking back at you, what you did. So there's the life review kicks people's ass, man. That is that's where you go in to judge yourself. That's why we're getting to go through this prematurely, I feel. It's like give yourself a life review so that you can blossom into this new version of yourself that can be at the vibration of this new earth, this new reality. And but so okay, there was something about because in a lot of other places people are a lot more trim and fit and stuff. And Americans will make a lot of excuses, and we've already realized our food's poison, and but it's not just that. I mean, it would be one thing if everybody was a little soft and a little pudgy, but we have extreme obesity, and we have extreme obesity to the point of it affects people's health, and they still continue to continue their lifestyle. That is 100% gluttony. That's 100% a Western kind of thing. Like you cannot go to some other countries and they don't have that. Like the food is more sparse. Like where's some of these places, I've seen videos, they go out and collect like garbage and cook it. And that is, they have to live off of like proteins that are very like, it is, not every place can live the way that we live in America. And people have been very contagious in their gluttony, but very hyper diligent on the focus of self-gratification. And that is fed into or led to the perception or the perspective of American person as this like selfish and kind of gluttony. They don't think about what goes on in other countries and stuff. They don't even think about it. Like this is a big thing for people to be waking up here and be paying attention to what's going clear across to another place. It would be like if you were in Europe or something, it'd be like people in England to be really focused on what's going on over in Romania. Just all of them focused. So like it's very far and it doesn't really have an effect on you. And a lot of times even with our family members is our families go out in a range. Generally, you don't have a lot that go completely across the country. Some of us do, and that does give us is other where our lines are drawn out further. But a lot of people, or their range is a lot closer. So families all are in certain areas, I don't know, within 300, 500 miles of each other or something. But so they're not clear across the country in most cases. And so people just focus on their own areas and what's going on in their own world, in their own family and stuff like that. And so in America right now, people are waking up and being very focused on what's going on in like Florida, what's going on in North Carolina, what's going on like in Texas, when that'll be going, or in Wyoming or Michigan or Ohio, like all these different things when shit starts going down. And in this weird bomb thing, I don't know if it'll be handled today, but it's like, how in the world are you still dragging, like, and those can just come out of the blue. Like anything can go at any time. That's what people got to get in their head. Like it's a scary thought, but it's just the way it is. And if you don't get yourself to be able to be comfortable with that, then when shit goes down, you're going to be just like falling apart. So it's like this opportunity to work towards being able to be okay with the stress. And so, it's so crazy how many things come popping into my head at once. It's like, oh, some of them have nothing to do with the other things. It's like, oh, it's very distracting and stuff. So, okay, so over in the Western civilizations, Western society, it's very much about self-gratification. I want it now. Credit, I'll buy this, I need that, I gotta have it bigger, gotta have at least 2 or 3 of those. And it's very consumption driven. And to other countries, it's different. In like, we have a different culture, a different way of life, but people don't realize here in America that it's different. It's like they're in their own world, kind of. A lot of people are shocked when they go out and start traveling around the world and go to other places. And then some like go when they expect people to, be like how it is here and stuff and jump and, it's like people just don't understand it. It's like a very different worlds. Just because we're under this place they tell us is called Earth, it's still like different planets. Like when the field is open, when the veil is lifted or the firmament is depleted or whatever, when people start going out, they're gonna see it's the same. Like you're gonna go out, it's gonna be whoa, there's another island, there's another, they're this color and that. People are gonna see it's the same thing as what we are under here, and that's why you have these different kind of groups. But I would still say like the main earthlings, oh yeah, because it was oh yeah, because people are always like trying to say, oh well, black people are the first people in they used monkeys and stuff like that. And in the other day I saw this, I don't know what, this Oriental person, and they looked so much like a monkey. I couldn't believe it. It was a different monkey. It wasn't a chimpanzee. It was a different kind of monkey. But I was like, right there is, but I also, that is where I think that what was created was this more of a Mongolian, more of this mix between a black person and an Oriental person. And that is what I think is kind of the first people. And I think that the Aborigines people are the most closest to being the representation. Like they could be the link going all the way back, but there is like these points of time where there's like missing link, like they don't have the whole connection that goes, but there has been these resets and stuff. And so at certain points, I don't know, when everything was gone, it was scientists that were in labs bringing things back, I guess, through cloning and growing things in labs. Like, I don't know. That's going to be the curious thing, is when we actually get to learn more about our history, which will come from some of these beings that are super ancient, that have been watching all of this play out. Because to us it would be super ancient, but it's because we have this concept of time, and we try and make sense of life through this this perception of a limitation through this diagram of time. But it is only an influence over how you perceive. And so that is also one of the things of letting go of the thing. That is why, to me, it's important about the age thing, letting go of the age thing. And it's more of the year you were born. And your window of time is your window of time. You don't have to break it down in increments. And you were birthed into a certain period in a certain generation with a certain group of people. And so, and it's for a certain experience. And it's so like what you guys did with the what is that thing called? The baton. When the baton was handed to you, it's what you did with your period of time of running with that baton. Then when the baton is passed, then you go through a period of time of, most people go through a period of time of regret. And they wish they would have done better. Some people lock in to more pain and suffering, but that is where you find a lot of older people that start really, like if they haven't healed stuff with their kids and stuff, their kids stop talking to them. If they, and so that can make them really resentful and regretful and sad and depressed. And so there's all these different things that people go through at different stages of their life. And so when you are shedding things through life, you don't get impacted. It's such a hard hit. There is a lot of people who reach a certain point are impacted by all of their choices at one time. But you can go through life in a period of processing so that you don't. That's why it's important to spend every day to spend time in movement, and every day to spend time in reflection. Go over things, go over your choices, how you are looking at things, why you're doing the things you're doing. Like, you think about things, and that will help you so that you don't have like this giant like pile up of emotions and trauma when all of a sudden something hits you. And but so on the Western philosophy, though, where people have, it is very, because there is a thing where, yeah, we're being poisoned and people are, that's going to make you kind of sickly or overweight or whatever. But people go so much further into it, into this consumption where it's like they don't have any boundaries. They don't have any off switch. They don't have, it's just give me more, 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 more. But really what they're feeding is an emptiness in their soul. Like, so much stuff can be surrendered back for completing in your soul, feeding into your soul. That will give you more of what it is that people are trying to fill themselves up with. And people are trying to make themselves feel better, and all they do is make themselves feel worse, and then they're so confused. But that is the confusion also in the Western society, where they try to make it very sex-driven, not spirit-driven. There's no culture. People don't really have anything to fall back on. There still is a whole thing. As my mom had told me, that my grandpa, because he was an immigrant at the time and he was escaping from the Ukraine, and so somewhere over in Eastern Europe, and so that where they were escaping, there's a lot, this was going on all over the place for a long time, because they've always been on the tracks. And that's why I would say, like, I bet you is some kind of tribe, some kind of a group, because that's what they're always on the tracks of these groups, and trying to, the genocide them. And then so they're always trying to do them in, wash them away or something. So they came over here trying to get away, and then, but my grandma married him, and my mom said that my grandma said it's like, it was super, super embarrassing. It was to be married to an immigrant, somebody who didn't speak proper English or whatever, like if they had an accent or whatever. So a lot of people who were immigrants would try and hide their culture, hide their, hide who they were, and try and talk a certain way and stuff. So there was a lot of shame that was instilled in people as they came over here. And so apparently that still is a thing. And so the people are still being shamed, but that is the lack of culture that we have in America. And it's not like that we're doing, like, I remember as a kid, like, starved for culture, like very envious of all these other countries that had, some kind of an idea of who they were. And it's like, well, what the hell are we? Which is 4th of July, have some picnics and some and some Christmas, like everything is this consume, buy things. It's false ideation and stuff. So it was, it's very empty. It's very shallow. But some people don't recognize that. And it's like they feed off of it. There's others of us that recognize this is shallow. It's not giving me anything. And so we have this whole society that's kind of lost, very sex driven, very divided over colors. Like, it's funny too, is back at whatever time, I would say probably the 80s, when the news was talking about the gangs and stuff all the time. And there's two big rivals, and it was the Crips and the Bloods. And if you even went out in the neighborhood, because it was very specific over which bandana you had in your pocket. And I'm pretty sure it was either you had a red one or a blue one, and it signified which group you were with. And if you were like out and you had one of those in and somebody else saw you, but that's also the same thing with the bikers and the colors and stuff. Like, if another group would see you and you didn't have your other group with you to back you up, you would get jumped, beaten, murdered, whatever. And so that happened all the time down in like Oakland or Compton, or the places that were created to control and contain the darker skinned people. And but then you think about, like, because they would make, like, you know, the idiocy behind that perception of, you know, killing your neighbor over different alignment or whatever. That is, look at the micro macro, look where we're at. Like, you can look at it and you can think it's absurd when you see someone else do it, but then you see all these people doing the same ass thing. It's like, why can't you guys see? You can see, it's so weird how people can see when somebody else is doing something, but they can't see when they're doing something. And that is why this big universal accommodation is going to occur, because it's like they're going to hold a mirror up in front of you so that you can see yourself clearly, so you can understand yourself. And there's all these things leading in, like all these things where people are, you know, locking into how they look at things and what they think and what they say. Like, these people, you know, go in public, like, how absurd that these idiots that wear red think that there's weather machines. Oh my God. It's just kind of embarrassing for them at this point. Like, they're just so, like, lost. But the lights are going to come on, and then they're going to see how embarrassing they are. And that's what they're going to have to face, is, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that people are going to be facing through this. I don't even know what I'm going to be facing, but we all have things to face. We all have things to see about ourselves. And that's going to be, you know, the big awakening moment. That is going to be, man, my stomach's growling like crazy. That is going to be it's like jumping off of the board, jumping off of the high dive into our new reality. Once this occurs and everybody gets this new view of themselves, that's like this jumping off. And then it's still going to be a swim to get to where we're going. And people are going to be struggling. And so it's going to be very difficult, because we do have such a lost society. And it is so misdirected. And the consumption that is created for Western society, and then to even have that become the spiritual direction that they want to proceed in, you know, controlling the universe. There's nothing peaceful about their stuff. And in this hierarchy, it still continues the hierarchy. It continues the consumption. Like, there's all these very toxic behaviors that this new spirituality that they leapt into just goes in the same direction. It's going to crash. Like, it's going to crash, just like Dan crashed. It's going to crash. It's not going to be able to keep going. It's going to keep, and I don't know how it's all going to go. Like, but people are going to see the error in their philosophy. And it's like the universe is going to show people individually, or how it's going to go. But yeah, it's not going to go, because where we're headed is this more harmony. It is more, you know, like the birds and the butterflies and the dragonflies, and like, what other being out there is trying to control and manipulate, maneuver and stuff? You know, like there's predators that will eat stuff, but that is because that's the only thing that they know to do to survive. But the other creatures aren't out there trying to control the world, control the other beings, control the other stuff. I was arguing with this girl yesterday for so fucking long. It's like there's no argument. All I'm trying to do is give a concept, and they want to just keep arguing and arguing and arguing because, you know, there's right and wrong or something. It's like, so her video, her post was about some lions. So this lion couple or whatever, they had been together for 16 years or something. And then the female, like you couldn't even see the whole article. And, but some about the female got sick and was gonna die. And they, or the male was, so they decided to put them both down because they didn't want the female to have to go without her partner or something like that. I don't know. And I was like, you know, this killing healthy animals has got to stop. And the person just jumped back and they were like, did you even read the article? And so this argument, they still are saying stuff to, the last thing they said, I just said, okay. But I was trying to make the point of that none of us have the right to be taking anything else's life. Like there's not an excuse, but see, there's an intention when people are trying to survive and they're eating other animals and taking in. And right now we don't even have people like necessarily taking their lives. Like there is hunters and farmers and stuff, but a lot of people don't have to take a life to eat it. And that's where things are real out of balance in our world. But so the but the intention behind the consumption of eating something else that is out of your own self-preservation of being able to survive. So that is where the people think, well, you know, got to do this to survive. So that it's not the same. But, and then you have these other people, you know, are just killing these animals for space. That's very different. And but anything that you take the life of, like back when the tribes would do it, it would be like ceremonial, like they had respect, they understood what they were doing. And now in our culture, people just they don't even consider it. They don't even consider other animals as even having thoughts or anything. And so we have the people who are just, it's like they just don't care about the animals. But in this girl, she's like, you know, like this is all out of compassion and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have the right to make decisions for other things. Like, what if it was, you know, her soul contract was to see, she was going to learn all this stuff without having her partner. There's all these lessons that she was going to learn without having her partner. But then this other interference happens. And see, those things are always going to play out the way they're going to play out. And the lesson would be about that happening. God, my stomach is growling like crazy. And so it would be, I feel hungry. I've already been eating banana bread. I mean, I made banana bread yesterday. This is like the only thing I feel like that I still keep eating like cookies and sweet breads and stuff. But like yesterday I made these beans and they were navy beans, and then I made them into baked beans. I made baked beans, and then I was thought about making potato salad because I'm from the South. And then I was like, well, somebody had given me some chicken eggs. So from, you know, a house, not from a store. And then, so I thought, well, I'll make deviled eggs. And then, because I was thinking about making potato salad, but then I just decided, well, I'll just, you know, bake some potatoes, but half, like, you know, when you cut them in half and then they get crispy on one side. And so I decided to do those. So they were cooking and I was boiling the eggs. And so then I'm ready to go make my food. And the beans had already baked. I'd already tasted them a bunch of times. They were really good. And so I start cracking the egg, and it looks like there's a fucking chicken in it. There's black. It looks like these feathers and stuff. I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I was like traumatized. So I was like, hell no. I sent a video to the person who had given me the eggs. And then but then I decided, well, I'll crack the other ones and see. I was scared. It took me a while to do it. And they all had these big black things. And then I sent her another video, and she said, oh, the eggs are all rotten. That's rotten. And that just, it totally turned my stomach. I was like, I still ate a little bit, but it's like, ugh. Like, eating a few bites, and it's like, oh, so sickening, man. And I didn't eat those eggs, obviously, but just the cooking them and the looking at them, and then thinking that the one had a dead chicken in it and stuff, I was like, oh, it was so gross. And so, oh, whatever I was talking about with that whole thing. Oh, with the food thing. Oh, because I was saying, I was like, man, my stomach's growling. Like, I feel like I'm starving. I just want to go in there, because I made more almond cookies, almond cookies I think are my favorite out of, like, they make them like almond butter, so make them like peanut butter cookies, only they're almond butter. Oh my God, my stomach's growling so crazy. And, so those are my favorite. Like, I make them, I swear, every 2 days I make more cookies. And I have been really trying to make a bunch of different breads, but this one actually turned out really good. I really like this one. I had so many problems with some of these different ones. Like 2 cans of pumpkin. Didn't like either of those breads. They both came out, I was like, way too dense. One of them was like a pumpkin pie more than it was like a bread. I was like, some of these recipes and stuff, like, I don't know. I start thinking, is it my little toaster oven is like the problem? I don't know. Or is it just the recipe? So, I mean, there's so many people who, like, their idea for recipes is just get out boxes of food and then how to put them together. It's like, it's very strange out there. Like, this, it's very strange. Like, just the people with their attitude. Like, I thought it was very strange when people just jump on. Like, all these people want to talk to Dan. There's people all going out, trying to interview him for their channel, all trying to build, like, I don't know, it's very strange, like, build off of his movement or something. But his movement, I knew was gonna be like blowing up. I knew something, like, there had to be some reason he was being so public thing like that, and it wasn't gonna be because somebody's gonna benefit off of crappy, artificial, superficial things. It's going to show how that stuff is going to keep blowing up and blowing up, because it's trying to redirect us to get more substance in our lives. And people are so fucking shallow and so on board for, like, there's literally people who stayed at that thing because no matter what it turned into, a 2 or whatever it turned into, there's still a huge devastation. But and people are really mad now because all these other people are disappointed that it wasn't big enough. So you got that whole battle going. All these people lost all this shit, lost all their things, and then these other people, well, it should have been worse. And it's gonna just keep getting worse. Like, I'm glad to see how these people are taking it serious and trying to sell their houses, but their houses aren't going to sell. It's going to have to be a point of abandoning your stuff, your house or whatever. You try and sell it, but move to a different place or something. But the people with the hurricane thing, and that went in, they were saying you're gonna die, and there was people who were staying. And I mean, there was people who were staying because they had nowhere to go, and so, like, it all has to do with intention. But there was people who, like, where it was like a joke or something, like those kinds of things, not respecting. I don't know, like, to me, that, like, Mother Nature is kind of like the Godfather or something. Like, you got to kiss the ring. Yeah, like if you're not going to take a knee to another man, but you need to take a knee to fucking destiny. You need to take a knee to faith. You need to take a knee, no, to fate. You need to take a knee to Mother Nature and the power behind, because that is the natural order of things. And, but anyways, we just have this totally fake society based on all this fakeness. So yeah, the stuff over here in America is going to have to just blow the fuck up, because it's the only thing that's going to get people to change. Like, even when you see stuff going on, like all this stuff going on in Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, and stuff like that, all these other people, it's not affecting them. It's not making them make changes in their lives. And all this horrible, horrible uh, laws or whatever that California is putting into, I'm telling you, that is to push people out of California. Because some of the stuff that they're trying to put into law and stuff is so fucking absurd. I don't even remember some of the stuff I've heard. To me, it's just like, oh my God, how ridiculous do things have to get? And so, but I know that that is to, wake people up and make them want to change or want more or whatever. And the first step is just, the opening your mind, like to put it out there, like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, I need to go somewhere else. Doesn't mean like that day that you decide that you need to be somewhere else, that you can jump up, pack your shit and go, that you have to, it's like telling the universe that you're ready now for, I'm ready to leave, I'm ready to go, show me where I'm going. And even though you were always going to do it when you were going to do it, it still is a necessary component to your drive of where it is that you are going. It's like you taking claim in the redirection of self. And so it's a valuable component to the movement of you in the direction that you are taking yourself. So it is like a claim to yourself. So, like, I don't want this. I don't want to live like this. This isn't the rules I want to live by. And then putting it out there, what it is you do want. I want to live free. I want to have animals. I want to have space. I want to have a community. I want to have a partner. I want to have, the different things that you want, that you're in alignment with, to give that your energy. And then that shows the universe what it is that you want. And even though you're always going to do what you're going to do and they could just sit back, but it has to go through this pattern. You have to do this, and then they do that. It's like this cause and effect. They can't just do everything for you. You have to put it out there. And even though you're going to put it out there on the exact day that they know that you're going to put it out there, that you don't know, you don't see what's coming. Like, there is a whole thing about, you don't know the day or the time. You don't know the moment that things are going to change. But things are going to change. They're going to change for us all. They're going to change on like a dime. They're going to just spin the other direction really quick. And that's going to be, that's the biggest part of the awakening. That, to me, is the starting the tribulation, where they're saying like, oh, the tribulation starts in 2024. I would say that's the start of the tribulation, is when everybody's get their mirror right in front of them and they have to face themselves. That's going to start the world in a whole new trajectory. Is there are so many people who are misled, who are, people don't realize how, like in America, people don't realize how narcissistic they are. They're always talking about these other narcissists and stuff like that. But as a general culture, our culture in America is very narcissistic, self-gratification driven, very ego. I'm better than you. I've got more than you. I can do more than you. And very much like who has the most is the winner. Whose house is the biggest is the winner. Whose wife is the prettiest is the winner. When there's some women out there who are very pretty, but they're just like nothing to them. Like, they relied on their looks, so they never developed themselves. And so they're just kind of like, a paper doll, like an empty shell of a person. Go try and have a conversation with them. And so looks doesn't, and then also you have, for one thing, you can have people who are very beautiful who are very insecure. You know, people who are very beautiful who are mean as hell and very full of themselves. Like, it has nothing to do with what somebody looks like, but people think like that makes them the winner. And so that is, what feeds our society with the trophy wives, and why you have all these guys out there, trying to get, they want to go out with this pretty girl or whatever. And instead of thinking about the substance, what it is that you really want out of life. But then you have so many girls who get focused on, oh, that pretty girl, she's got it all, and I'm just a worthless piece of shit, don't take care of themselves, start gaining weight, then feel worse about themselves, then go try and get clothes, then they don't like how they look, then they feel worse about themselves, and they start trying to some hairstyles or whatever, and then they don't like how they look. So it's just this feeding into this self-loathing, all based on because you think this other person is better than you, and so you defeat yourself instead of building yourself up, because each person becomes in alignment to their best self. Then we have a lot of different possibilities as best selves. It's not like, oh, this one design, that's the best self, we're all going for that one. No, everyone's best self is very different. It's very unique. It's very independent. It's not an overall general. And so when you are self-loathing and going into your darkest, that is, you're going on this negative timeline. When you go back towards go towards your best version of yourself, that is your positive timeline. And see how it has to have so much to do with how you have to learn how to like yourself, to be on the timeline that is the one that is giving back to you. So it is that you have to feed into liking yourself and loving yourself and stuff. And that is, brings you into becoming your best version of your best, your version of your best self, or your best self version, or whatever. And, but that's not to say that you can't keep improving, like, because life keeps moving, and you got to stay with the flow. You got to stay going, and you have to, do things every day. You have to keep, you can't become stagnant. You can't be like, oh, I reached the goal, now I'm done. And then we still have that going, where people are like, well, I already healed, now what's happening? It's like, because it's not just one healing. It's steps. It's opening your mind and realizing things. And then when you get to the next part, it's like another thing and another thing. It just keeps going and going. And, but anyway, so, all the people is, but that is where all this bad stuff happens to the people, and then the people that brings them to their knees, because that is, it's like who they are. Like, this happens, these bad things happen because what happens with the people is like a positive thing. And the loss and the sadness is a temporary movement, but people are able to put that aside and put that down and go and help other people in need, and be there for other people. So, and pick themselves up and make changes and redevelop themselves. And so as all these things occur that couldn't have occurred if there wasn't the loss. There had to be the loss for the people to figure out their own resilience. And so it has to go through that process, and it will get there. Like, we win, like we all get there. This, the earth flips, the people turn things in a new direction, and we go at a new pace in life. Like, all that is going to occur. But this is very flimsy, it's very floppy, and it's very, there's all these different things playing out. There's just so many different things and so many different perspectives all playing out. And then there's just a lot of misleading that is built off of our old programming. So to me, just keep breaking down the program, because I'm telling you, You just think about how nature works. There's a harmonious effect. How is it that man is supposed to fit into nature? Is it man supposed to control it? Is man supposed to man is supposed to get into the groove with it, just go with the flow. That has to do with, destiny. It has to do with balance. It has to do with being in the flow of life. And those things are like the islander, the Eastern philosophy of being in the flow, not trying to force things and rush things, and be happy with what you have. You don't need more. I was like, there's lots of people who don't have anything, and you have to find peace of mind. You don't be like, oh, well, I can't be happy unless I have this. I can't be happy unless I have that. Because then you hold yourself back from your happiness. You have to find, what is more valuable to you. Seek the things that you think will make you happy, or to be happy with the things that you have. And it's these two different philosophies. That's exactly right there. And that is like, you have one is like, you go after the things that you think are going to make you happy. And the other one is be happy with the things that you have. Find peace with what you have. And so anyways, we'll see how it plays out. There will probably be some kind of a combination thing, because there is a certain power that we do have over, but I just don't see it the same way these people see it. Like, I don't think, like, I manifest all the time, and I don't think it's about, manifesting yourself a mansion and fancy cars and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that you don't deserve them. But the universe will bring you what it is that the universe has planned for you to have an experience. But to sit there and make that your motivation in life, of your goal or what you're trying to go after, seems like a hopeless redundancy. Like, what is the point? And so it is and it's all about what you do with your time. But anyways, in the blending of the thing, it isn't about trying to control the universe, because there is so much about that. It's like, that is like you showing that you don't trust the universe knows what the fuck it's doing. Like, the universe doesn't know this storm is coming. It doesn't know what's gonna. It doesn't know. It's not supposed to wipe out these people. It's just gone crazy, and you got to run in and you got to tell the universe what to do, and you got to stop it and control it. Like, you see what I'm saying? So that's not being in harmony with the universe, and that's spending your time trying to control something that you don't have. We may have control over certain things, but it's not the things that you're here to control. They're here to learn how to control your own attitude. Like, people can't even have control of themselves, and they're trying to control the fucking universe. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, that is where I'm saying, over this strange philosophy, all I do is see an interpretation of Western programming that is coming out as the same kind of style, and the same kind of control, the same kind of feed me, feed me, feed me attitude. And so anyways, whatever things that we end up taking from that one, I don't know. We'll just see. I think that the one that's going to come up more will be the one that is more of go in the flow, be in harmony. I think that there's so much in Western civilization that has to do with gluttony, consumption, self-indulgence, yearning or lusting after what someone else has, never feeling good about themselves. Like, and all those things have to break apart, break away. So anyways, I'm going to go eat some more. Okay, I'm going to go have my 4th cup of tea. I've already had 3. It's one, but out of my tea, like, I've started putting a tea bag in, but it's one tea bag for all the cups. So it's just in my tea ball where I've got all my different herbs, or what are those things called? Plant, they're like roots and leaves, which I just saw somebody saying that that there was over by them, that there's always tons and tons of nettle and mullein leaf, and she said there is none. So, and that stuff is good for you, mullein and nettles. So, and then I have burdock root, and then some more stuff. Like, you just got to come up with your own blends of what things that you need. And then, so anyways, I'm just saying all this because I'm not trying to say like, well, I'm all jacked up on caffeine, because I don't feel like I'm jacked up on caffeine. But I definitely feel like there's an energetic surge going on in the planet. And I bet you that there's going to be some more of those solar flash things today coming out of the sun. I bet the Schumann's going crazy. Every time when I have these nights where I can't sleep, and then the next day it'll be like the Schumann was white out. Because that was the other day too, when I said I was up. And then I saw the Schumann, it was total white out on the thing. So that's what I think that is the energy on the planet. And so anyways, I don't remember if I said all the things I was going to say. It was just tons of drama things. Like, I can't even hardly stand to go on TikTok. I go and look on there because it's like my only way to see what's going on in the world. I could go on YouTube, but then that's manipulated too. And to go and try and find, you know, I don't know, TikTok is a lot more of little videos, and especially when shit's going on, everybody wants to show what's happening around their house. And so there's tons of that. So then you can go in and see, and it gives you an idea of like, oh, the weather over there. Okay, there's no moon over there. Okay, they got a sun. They've got this. They got, like, you start putting the things together and seeing, and then you see how the people's attitude, you see what's going on and stuff. So to me, it gives me kind of an anchor, grounding into this world. But then when I go on, it's like you have to go through so much BS to get there. It's like, oh my God, it's the people's attitudes. You go see all these fucking people just killing animals. Like, it's just, it's like a lot. And to me, it definitely is less and less time on there, more and more time off of there. And I just hope that we're closer and closer to whatever it is going to be that's going to change things. And hopefully that the storms, you know, that are really going to be taking out the coastline, hopefully we are all going to be moved away from these places before they all go down. But like what everybody keeps saying, like this West Coast thing's about to go down, and people are saying, keep saying like, oh, it's about to be a big earthquake, about to be a big earthquake over here. And if that does go with that earthquake, then I won't be able to cross out of here. I don't even know, like, I don't know, you know, how we would, like, if it would be that we would have to be flighted out of here or something. Especially, like, where I'm at. So if the water comes up and eats that whole coastline and all of the, because that's where most of the houses are and stuff, then, and the water goes back, I think they said that they were thinking that the tsunami, the water would be like 900 feet tall. And I think on some parts they said it would go back like 100 miles or something. It might have been 30 miles. But I think I would be like 30 or 40 miles from there. So that's why I was like, the water could come up some. That doesn't mean it would go over our houses. But there, some of this, it could go slow too, though. But it could be just that it comes up to where the people can't live in their houses anymore. And that pushes people away. And then it just keeps sinking, which would be, you know, ideal. So it would be less with trauma. But that's where we don't have any control over it. If it's going to be traumatic, then I would say it's because it creates so much change. It creates a wave of change. All the traumas create a huge wave of change. And that's why they're happening. Not because God's mad or God hates us. And then he all of a sudden changes. Like 1 minute he's trying to kill the tarot readers and gay people in Florida and all the sundown town. The next minute he's lost control of the storms and the people. Like, it's... This is strange. This is so strange, like how people think and how they look at things and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's weird, man. So, anyways, we'll see where this day takes us. We'll see how things keep going, and you know, there's going to be something. As I said, we don't know the day or the time. Something's gonna all of a sudden turn, and it's gonna turn everybody's lives upside down. And that is going to be, that's when I feel like things are going to be going in a better direction. Even though it's going to be very traumatic for people, it's still, that's going to be like, oh, finally, God. That's what I feel like. Once the things turn, it's going to be like, oh, God, I'm so glad finally we're going in a different direction. And I feel like we're headed there, and it's us turning. That's why things like Dan and all these different situations and scenarios are playing out, because we are changing, we are turning. You know, where people were shallow, where people were this certain way, and they don't even know why they are the way they are. All these things are falling away. So anyways, that's the way I see it. We'll see how it goes. So just remember what you're doing here is learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.